attention of your big breaking TV. Welcome to Primetime, bitch.
Bitch.
All right, guys. Welcome to Primetime, episode 9. That was a weird intro. I don't know why that didn't work. But technical issues aside, I'm your host, Hunter Chambers. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad and Kerri. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. Excited for today's topics, news
You guys hear me?
stories. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Kind of.
Can you hear me? Okay. Excited for today's topic, and I think we got a really good one too. We're gonna do some ranking and have some fun today.
Definitely. Yeah, we are ranking the best final girls in horror movies, so should be very fun. I got me an Island Breeze going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Guinness Blonde.
I love that coconut flavor. All right, so let's get into the news stories for today. We got 3 of them, starting with from bloodydisgusting.com. Actually, all of these are from that site, so thank you very much. Too disgusting. A24's new film, Bodies, rated R for violent and bloody images. So it says, Bodies comes to theaters on October 5th, 2020. From A24. And today, the official MPA rating for the slasher confirms what we suspected. This one is definitely rated R. Rated R for violence, bloody imagery, drug use, sexual reference, and persuasive language. He is in the H party at a remote family man, backstabbing fake friends, and Maria Pay. So,
You were cutting out quite a bit there, but oh, okay. Well, Hunter just left. I think, unless I don't think we left, so I'm just gonna talk about this, I guess. Synopsis. A group of 7 young friends have a house party at a remote mansion during a hurricane, hosted by childhood best friend Sophie, who is recently sober, and David, who is excessively wealthy. B is the working class girlfriend of Sophie, and new to their group of friends. She is naive to the kind of party they host, eats a large amount of cake without realizing it is an edible. Okay. One of the guests, Jordan, also warns B that Sophie is not who she seems. Sophie, having been in rehab, has not spoken to the others in the group for some time, and social dynamics are awkward between them. The group decides to play party games, choosing Bodies, a Murder in the Dark style game. The game goes poorly and fractures the friendship even more, with David arguing with everyone from his boring girlfriend Emma to another outsider in the group, the much older Greg, who is vacuous Alice's new boyfriend. They end the game, but soon find a real murder has taken place and have to again search for the murderer among them. Didn't we talk about this? Doesn't this isn't the one with Keke Palmer in it? What was that?
I think
one?
it does have Keke Palmer in it, but I think this it doesn't
this is
have
different.
Keke Palmer.
This
It's
sounds
different.
like that other one that we
No, I don't think so. The other one was like a mix of like
Well, either way, this sounds like a mix of like Clue and maybe like Ready or Not or something like that.
it seems like it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited for that. But while Hunter's gone, we don't really have oh, he's back.
There he is.
Okay.
hey, I don't know what happened there. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. How far did I get into the news story that you guys heard?
We heard snippets of the title It's A24. It's very rated R.
I think you got through the whole synopsis
yeah.
and then you were at the whole article and then you were asking us about it.
You were just cutting out a little bit, and then while you were gone, I kind of just read the whole synopsis that was on Wikipedia.
Okay. So yeah, this movie is completely rated R. The cast includes Emmanuel Stenberg, Pete Davidson, Lee Pace. It's directed by Helena Rajin. So I have not heard about this movie until looking at these news stories, but it sounds very interesting, almost like a Ready or Not in a way, like a deadly game turned, or a game turned deadly. It seems like it's going to take more of a horror comedy route from the synopsis. What do you guys think about this movie?
Yeah, we were legitimately like right before you jumped on. We're saying it's kind of a mix between Ready or Not and what was the other one I said? Clue. Yeah. So
yeah,
like a horror Clue.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it looks like the director was actually like an actress for a long time, and then she started directing. So this is an actor gone director thing, and she did her directorial debut in 2019 was Instinct, and then obviously starting as a director right then in 2019 to go into a pandemic is not the best time to start your career, but
not at all.
She's going on strong. She's got a movie coming out. It sounds really interesting. Sounds like it could be one that will get people to go out to the theater. I mean, we still haven't seen X, unfortunately, but we've heard that crowds were trying to go to that because they heard it was like really messed up and stuff like that. So maybe this will be kind of similar. It'll be one to get people in the theater.
Exactly. Kerri?
Yeah, this sounds like it's going to be an interesting, fun movie. It sounds like a really cool concept. And yeah, we'll have to see how it turns out. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the next one. I'm just going to bring it up on my phone because every time I try to bring up another one, my computer wants to act stupid. So let me get the next story, which is The Northmen, the movie directed by Robert Eggers, which I am super excited for. The first reactions to the film hails it as a brutal masterpiece. And that's saying a lot, considering who's directing this film. So the story again comes from BloodyDisgusting.com. It says the new Robert Eggers movie, The Northmen, doesn't release in theaters until April 22nd. But the first waves of social reviews hit Twitter last night in the wake of the film's premiere. Not surprisingly, The Witch and the Lighthouse filmmakers' new movie has been met with almost universal praise so far, being called everything up to and including a masterpiece. So here are some of the tweets. This is from Heather Winston from The Daily Dead. I've been a huge fan of Robert Eggers for years, but The Northman is truly his masterpiece. Brutal, fearless, and audacious. It feels like the kind of cinematic epic we don't see very often anymore. This is from Fandango's Eric Davis, who says, you definitely won't be able to take your eyes off this blood-soaked revenge tale, also calling it daring and devilish. Brandon Davis from Comic.com praises the leading man of the Northmen, Alexander Skarsgård, is insane for that performance. The man turns into an animal. So, these reviews, or these first reactions, are getting me even more excited than I intentionally was for this movie because I'm a huge Robert Eggers fan. Love The Lighthouse. I'm in love with The Witch, one of my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. So, Chad, Kerri, what do you guys think about The Northmen coming out, plus the first reactions to this movie?
Do you want me to start?
Sure.
Yeah, Robert Eggers is great. Is definitely one of those, like, kind of like an Ari Aster, like, one that came on the scene not too long ago and like just started like making really, really good movies right out of the gate. And the Witch, was really, really great. I love how he can take a lot of these films and just like make them so like realistic and practical and stuff like that. And it wasn't at all what a lot of people I feel like were expecting. But I feel like it's something different, and The Lighthouse was definitely different. That was a
Yes, it
really,
was.
really strange movie, but I really enjoyed the filmmaking of that, and I really loved Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe in it. And we're actually getting Willem Dafoe coming back for the Northmen.
Yep.
And we have a lot of other really great people in there. You got like both of the Skarsgård children, Alexander and Bill. You also got Anya Taylor-Joy, Bjork. I freaking love Bjork's music. And so it'd be really fun to see her in this. Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke. That's just to name a few of the really like notable ones. But it sounds kind of like a horror kind of Revenant style. So I'm really kind of interested to see this one. I think it's probably going to be great.
Kerri?
I agree with you guys. I'm really excited for this. Really love The Witch a lot. And just excited to see Robert Eggers always does something really interesting, really original. So it'll be really fascinating to see what he comes up with.
Exactly. The one thing that I really love about what Eggers is doing is it seems like he likes working with the same people. Because you got the lead from The Lighthouse and you got the lead from The Witch in the same movie together, which is going to be insane. Anya Taylor-Joy is probably one of the best up-and-coming actresses working today. When you look at overall range, she can be in horror, she can be in comedy, she can be in this, kind of dramatic, like medieval type movie with The Witch. She can do everything, which is, consider her age is freaking insane. And then of course Defoe. I mean, probably one, if not like the top 10 greatest actors of all time, in my opinion. The dude has so many ranges when it comes to different performances he can give, whether it's inside a comic book genre or in another movie like American Psycho or The Lighthouse. He just gives so many different ranges. So those two together are going to be insanely good. And the story itself is actually really, really reminds me almost like a Viking type war epic with horror elements, which is getting me so excited for what we could possibly see.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, X, the movie by Ty West, has passed $10 million at the domestic box office. This again comes from BloodyDisgusting.com. It says now in its third week of release, Ty West's slasher X still hanging in there on the box office charts, shredding theaters this past weekend, but nevertheless hitting a huge milestone. Starring Mia Goth, X has now passed $10 million at the domestic box office, hitting 10,099,000 as of this morning. That's the worldwide total. Almost all of it made domestically. X is currently playing in 1,799 theaters across the country, originally opening in 2,865 theaters back on March 18th. Even losing over 1,000 theaters, it added over $1 million to its total over the weekend. You can't ask much more from an outside-the-box slasher that was always going to struggle with mass appeal, and the film's low budget certainly doesn't hurt either. So, guys, thoughts on X hitting $10 million at the worldwide box office?
Yeah, I mean that's great. I think Ty West is a really great director. I think they, the way I've heard things that I've heard from people, it's a great movie. So hearing that it's doing well is just any horror movie that can do well and just like help to make horror be seen as not just schlocky and like something that can't make money or can't actually be great and held to a good like critical standard is definitely great in my book.
Yeah, especially I think for these original smaller budget horror films, just to see any of them succeed so much. Sorry, our cat. I don't know if you can hear that. Our cat is doing a horrible hairball.
That's fine.
But it's really great because I think it just pushes forward making even more of these really innovative horror films that aren't based off of an existing franchise. So I hope this kind of success like helps future horror movies as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, I like seeing new out of the box horror films or horror films that like do something different that's not an IP. I love IP horror movies. I love franchise horrors, but to see these smaller, like A24 horror films do so well that guys like Robert Eggers, Ari Aster, and Ty West are now household names. It just means that we're going to get more original horror movies down the line, and that's going to be great for the growth of horror as a whole, which I'm super excited for. All right, if there's not anything else, you guys ready to go on to the main topic for tonight?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So ready.
All right, so how this is going to work is we have 12 available spots. Myself, Chad, and Kerri are going to nominate a final girl and majority rules. So two of us have to agree. We put them on the list, and then we rank them from 12 to 1 at the end, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so Kerri, if you want to kick us off with your first nomination, and we'll go Kerri, Chad, myself.
Sure. So I'll start with one of my all-time favorites, and that is Ellen Ripley from Alien. One of the ultimate classic final girls, and such an incredibly badass one at that. She doesn't survive by chance for the most part. It's really she works to save herself. She tries to save her other crew members. Ultimately doesn't. She does save the cat Jonesy. So, and she's also got in the subsequent Alien films, especially Alien, she goes on to continue being the ultimate badass, continue being the ultimate final girl.
Chad?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have Ellen Ripley on this list of final girls. Because she's like one of the ones that kind of like set the standard for like what a great final girl could be. And she's definitely one of the biggest names on that list. I love her in Alien and Aliens. She definitely shows her. And the one thing I think that's really great too is like she's never prepared or anything like that, but she like against all odds, against this thing that none of them know what the hell it is, she still manages to keep her wits about her and be the last one left except for the cat. And then exactly as Kerri said, that's one of my biggest things about her is that she makes sure she saves the cat. And a lot of people might not even give a shit about the cat, but you could see right in the back, they're important to me. So there's one right there. I'd save the cat for sure. I'd die trying to save the cat. And and then even in the sequel, she has so much of an attachment to the young girl Newt. And I just think she just has like so many like layers to her, and she's such a great character. And just badass, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a yes for me. One thing I love about Ripley is, as Kerri brought up, she doesn't survive by just chance. She always puts herself in positions to succeed, showing how smart she is and how she can outwit, the aliens and Alien Queen and things like that. But she's also a human character, which is great. You get to see kind of the human side of Ellen Ripley, not just the badass Marine that she is, which, like, obviously she is, but there's a good mix of like the human element in there as well that wouldn't work without her in it. All right, so Ellen Ripley makes one of the 12. Chad, on to you.
Oh shoot, that's right. It's on to me. All right. Well, I will go ahead. Oh, I do have another one I just remembered, but I am actually gonna go with kind of an. I'm gonna go with the out of the box one that doesn't get brought up a lot. I'm gonna go with Clear Rivers from Final Destination,
Ooh.
because the killer is like death itself in this movie, which is really badass. And I could have went with the her male counterpart, but it's a final girls list, so I went with Clear Rivers, and I think she's amazing too because she's the one where, I think his name's Alex. He has like, all the premonitions and stuff like that. She doesn't. But from the very beginning, she's like reading like a newspaper talking or article talking about Princess Diana's death. And so she already believes in like kind of like conspiracy, like, weird ESP happenings and paranormal stuff. So when Alex, jumps off the plane and freaks the hell out, she immediately jumps up and goes, all right, I'm getting off this plane too. He's making a lot of sense. And throughout the entire movie, she's like that. And I just really love how she helps them figure out what's going on. And even in the sequel, she is, because Devon Sawa doesn't return for the sequel, but she's there, Ali Larder, and she basically is the voice of reason to everybody. Like, I've been there, I know the deal, I'm seniored in this. And so she leads everybody to figure out how to beat death. And I just think she's great.
All right, I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna have to say no on this one. I love the Final Destination series. If Clear was in a lot more movies and she had a bigger impact in those movies, I would have said yes. But it seems like with the Final Destination movies, especially after 2, we get a brand new like series of characters, and they just kind of do the same thing over and over again. If she had a bigger presence throughout the entire series, maybe she was the connective tissue, then I would say yes. But she doesn't do enough, in my opinion, to put her in the top 12. That's all I'll say. Kerri?
Oh God. I think I'm gonna say yes to this one. I think Clear is a pretty great final girl. She actually does survive to the end, unlike Alex. And that she does play a pretty big role in, I think it's the second movie at least. I think she plays a big enough role there to kind of include her in this list. And she is like, I don't know, she has a lot of the traits of great final girls, where she's really smart. She's like, she's like one of the first to take the whole concept of, the Final Destination thing seriously, and like trying to keep all of them alive.
In the second one, she figures out that it's going backwards.
Yeah,
she's so smart.
Yeah. All right, so Clear makes it onto the list. Where do I want to go for this one?
Are you looking at my list, cheater?
I'm looking at what her last name was. I thought you said Rivers, but I was like, it can't be Clear Rivers.
It is.
A dumb name.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, the other one that I thought of.
I mean, I'm probably just gonna go with the obvious one right now.
Sure.
Sidney Prescott. I mean,
who?
I mean, obviously, ultra badass in the Scream films. Not someone who will just, lay down and roll over and die. I mean, especially in the fifth one, I feel like she's more of a protector in that one, which I love, protector of her family, everything. And you see her grow throughout the series from this teenage girl who had this traumatic experience, then her going to college, dealing with it, and then in the third one being totally isolated after the last 2 events. Fourth one, she comes home, and the fifth one, she's coming back to protect not only herself but her family. So it's a great kind of series ender from beginning to end. You get a really concise, badass final girl. So Sidney Prescott is who I'm nominating. Guys?
Definitely say yes to that one. I think Scream is, we've talked about Scream so many times on here, and how it's probably our favorite horror franchise. So definitely Sidney Prescott makes the list.
Yeah.
If we both would have said no, Hunter would have just fallen out of his chair. He would have just hit the floor. And yeah. Anyway, no, I have to say yes to Sidney freaking Prescott. Like, she, kind of reinvented like the final girl. I feel like, she is definitely like pretty much the smartest character in that whole franchise, or one of, if not the. She's so awesome, but you like also like empathize with her, because she's got like a really shitty boyfriend in the first one, I hear, and she's just really smart. She's always got like the really badass lines, like don't fuck with the original. Just she's got so many great lines and just a lot of really cool things to do in the movie. She's she's the center of everything in those movies, and just like another one that might come up later. And yeah, I just love her so much, and Nev Campbell plays her so well that like you just love to see her every single installment. So yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree. All right, so we are back to Kerri for her next selection.
All right. I am going to go with Danny from Midsummer.
Okay.
Ooh.
She is, of her group of friends, she is the one to survive, and she's pretty brutal about it eventually. But I don't know. I really love this movie, and I think she starts out from such a traumatic place, and she has these, this boyfriend and these friends, male friends, who really don't seem to care for her at all. And then she finds a group of people who immediately care for her and accept her for who she is, help her to work out her trauma, but are also way more problematic than her original set of friends as they're going around killing people. But I don't know. I think this just ends. I don't know. I love the ending to this movie. I love the ending from her. I feel like it's just, I don't know. It's such like a shock, but also I don't know. You kind of see how she gets there.
Chad?
I kind of hate Kerri and I approach this movie from different perspectives. I'm not saying that her friends are good people. They're definitely not. But like, I don't think being shitty when you're like just an idiot in college warrants what happens to them in this film. And then she just goes ahead and joins this weird cult, and that's how this movie ends. I think that's a very kind of dumb ending. I don't love this movie. I really need to revisit it to see what a lot of other people who do love this movie think about it. I don't like how it ends. I don't know. That doesn't mean that she's not a good final girl. I just don't know if I like her just accepting that all of this whole thing about, oh well, she found a family now, but yeah, but what kind of family is this though, is the question that you have to ask yourself. A family that just like kills crazy travelers in a weird way. Like, I hate that so much. I just think it's
kind of like
so
almost a little bit of a
gross.
like light revenge film. Like she's kind of getting.
How is that revenge? They were just kind of assholes to her. They didn't really do anything.
I will say this. They were more than just assholes, though. I mean, her boyfriend really, when her sister commits suicide at the beginning of the movie, you can tell he doesn't give a shit that happened to her. He just wants out of that relationship. That's more than just being a dumb teen, which, by the way, I think he's in his 20s or whatever, but still, he could have showed compassion and could have shown her more of like, I'm here with you, instead of just like, oh, all right, come here, then just blowing
But
her off.
I don't think being very insensitive to someone's sister dying warrants what happens to them.
Plus, I mean, he also just like fucked someone in front of her at the camp as well. So
that's because he was like forced to do that, wasn't he?
No,
he wasn't forced. They invite him to for sure, but
yeah, it was an invitation and he accepted it
because he wants to experience. I think part of it was he like wanted to experience their culture, and like he was like, oh, this is the way to experience their culture. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely a strange.
And that was kind of the breaking point of it all, because that's when they had to cry like in the center.
I'm just gonna say no. She's not on my list, and I don't really like the ending of that movie.
See, this is where I am very conflicted, because I love Midsummer. I've watched it 4 or 5 times already. It might be it might be my favorite Ari Aster film, and I love Hereditary. That's saying something. But I gotta look at this objectively as well. We got 3 spots filled up. You know what? I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's see. Oh. I believe.
Like
Oh,
that.
can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
So we're on Chad now, I believe.
Okay. I'm gonna go with another kind of like out of the box one. I'm gonna go with Sarah Carter from The Descent. Because
Ooh.
I freaking the first time I watched The Descent, I didn't love it, but then subsequently after watching it again, I freaking really think this is just a great movie. Neil Marshall made just I love all the choices that he made to like actually like make the entire cast like women. All of the dynamics between these characters are so great. And you know, I love that with this character, he made her backstory before the movie starts or like when the movie starts, like really, really tragic, like her family dies. And so she's going on this trip as kind of like a therapeutic, like going away with friends and you're trying to like forget and stuff like this. And then, you know, just like all of that, like kind of bottles up inside of her. And then like, you know, when they're going through this like cave system, she gets lied to. Doesn't she find out that the one person was like cheating on her with the husband? Yeah. So there's a lot of crazy dynamics like that. And then, you know, weird things start to happen. People get killed. There's monsters. And it's just a really good movie, a really good time. But then also, this is one of the best things with the final girl is like she ends up just kind of adapting so well. Wielding like I think the tools that they had in the thing as like weapons to like kill these things. And like she becomes like really, really bloody and just kind of like just looks so badass just you know killing these things. And I just think that's a great final girl when you go through a transition like that. And you know, I think what she does at the end, just well, depending on what ending you watch, but like the one like she kind of like leaves her there or whatever, like that's really, really badass. But maybe not the best thing to do, but you can tell why she would have done that. So
All right, so Kerri, on to you for your decision.
Oh,
go with your heart.
Well, I'm just a little conflicted. I can't remember. Maybe it's because I know there are 2 different endings, but I don't think she actually survives the end of the film.
She
Maybe
does
it's only in
one of
ending.
them at least.
Maybe
at
it's
least.
only in one ending.
Yeah, so in one of the alternate endings for that movie, she sees her daughter in a vision, and then she blows out a candle, and it pans out to see that she's still in the cave.
Yeah.
The original theater ending is where she escapes and everything like that, but then it kind of ends with like a jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll say yes because it counts, and I do think she is really fantastic in this movie.
Oh.
Like, she just really goes through the shit in this movie, and she maybe comes out the other side depending on which version you watch.
It's a great movie. Check it out.
Oh, it's really good. All right, so Sarah Carter, I believe her name is. Last name is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have an opinion on it?
I absolutely love The Descent. Sorry, I was typing up something. Yeah, I watched this movie last few years for the first time because I was doing a horoscope podcast episode on it. And I've watched it multiple times since. I absolutely love the character of Sarah. I love Final Girls who have a beginning, a middle, and an end to their story. You know what I mean? Like, they go through so much, and it doesn't continue a franchise or anything. It's one closed story, which is
Right.
like another reason why I added Danny to the list is because she had a great beginning, middle, and, in my opinion, a great end when it comes to like one movie. There's no franchises or anything coming. It was one complete story. Same thing with Sarah. It's one complete story with this character that you can see her evolution in an hour and a half instead of 4 movies to get it.
Absolutely. I think there is the Descent 2 or something, but I don't. No one really talks about that.
It doesn't follow Sarah though. I don't believe.
I think you're right on that.
I think it's someone else. I could be wrong though. I haven't seen part 2. So back to me, I believe.
Yes.
All right. This one is going to go completely out of the box because I don't really know if this is considered a horror movie or not. But I consider it at least a horror thriller. I'm going to go Casey Cook from Split and Glass.
From what? Oh, okay.
Split and Glass. Anya Taylor-Joy's character in both of those films. One, I love Split, and I actually like Glass really well. But the one thing I love is how realistic Anya Taylor-Joy's performance is in not only this film, but in Glass. It gives her a complete story arc with Kevin because, she gets kidnapped. She meets all of the personalities, and then in Glass, she has to end up fighting and killing the beast. But what's great is it also deals with Stockholm Syndrome as well in a very respectful way. It's not like Joker and Harley Quinn where it's, completely over the top. It's realistic because you can see that, at least in Split, she could, she like felt something for Kevin and felt kind of bad for the situation that he was in, all the way through. And then in Glass, that kind of relationship kind of grows until the end where she is actually the reason he ends up getting killed because, she calms the beast down, and then that's where they end up shooting and killing Kevin. So I think it's a realistic portrayal of not only being, held hostage in this place, but a realistic look at Stockholm Syndrome and how that stuff actually works mentally as well as kind of a physically from 2 movies perspective. So I'm going Casey for my next pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Split is definitely a horror movie. At least Split. I think Glass has enough horror elements in it as well to qualify as a horror movie. And I think Casey is a great final girl. She's not one I thought of immediately when we were talking about making this list, but I think she is a fantastic final girl. Like, she knows how to keep herself alive in a really dangerous situation. She does everything she can to get out of that situation and does it successfully.
Yeah, she basically, I agree with both of you. I think that, she is a really great one. I don't even think it matters if Glass is a full horror movie. I don't really think it is, but I think it's more of like the superhero comic book that the Unbreakable was. But, Split is definitely on the horror side of the thriller, I think. It's all under kind of the same umbrella. But yeah, exactly. Like if you take out all of the kind of like supernatural, superhero-y type stuff, it really is just a story of a girl, or girls that are kidnapped and held in like a basement type of a thing. And she's the only one that's able to actually survive this. And she does it by being smart, like the other girls are not. And I think she's the one that's like, pee on yourself. It's going to make you, not him not to want to come near you or something like that.
Yeah, because in Split, she realizes that when Kevin becomes the child in his head, that stuff freaks him out. So
yeah,
she's smart enough to be like, do this, and he won't be able to touch you.
Yeah, and so she like actually learns to like know how to talk to, I feel like, the different personalities in different ways. She especially loves Hedwig because he's so impressionable, and you can actually like get him to do things for you and take you places to show you his room. And
his drawings.
do you think that the window was real? And stuff like that. So she's Anya Taylor Joy, or it's Anya Taylor Joy, right? She can
Yeah.
do no wrong, and she's
At least she
amazing.
hasn't yet.
Exactly, she's
No, she
amazing
hasn't.
in this, and so definitely yes.
All right, so this Final Girls list is actually going the complete opposite way I expected it to, which
Yeah.
is great. We're getting so many different names on the list. All right, Kerri, back to you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a classic because I don't want to see. I want to
Yeah.
make sure she gets on
Go
the
ahead.
list. And that's Laurie Strode from Halloween.
That's right. I think I've heard of her.
I think so. I mean, talk about classic Final Girls. She basically is one of, I think, probably maybe the girl who like to help define Final Girls and what they are. Um, and I just love her character. Like, I don't know, I really relate to her character. I was like very much similar to her when I was in high school, like goody two shoes, very into my studies. But I love that, and I think that made like her being the responsible one, it helps save her in this movie. And she's just smart. She's smart, and she's a great protector. She protects the kids that she's watching. And then in the subsequent films, I mean, it's really varied because there's different timelines. But I
Mhm.
think any version that's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, well, except maybe where she dies really early in Resurrection.
Resurrection.
But I would say also in Halloween H2O and Halloween 2, she's really fantastic as well in those movies.
Yeah. Doesn't she say like always the Girl Scout or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Honestly, the original 1978 Halloween is one of my favorite movies. I believe I put it in my top 100. I think this movie, this movie had to grow on me because, like, as you are, existing in a modern day and you see so many horror films that are just like, oh, everything at you and stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, quantity over quality and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of the times. But with Halloween, everything's so simple. It's such a simple story, and she is, yeah, exactly, like, such a great final girl because you don't even need any of the other movies, because she in this one movie is able to, because she kind of sees something's going on, but she doesn't really think it's like a threat or anything because they're in this nice, safe suburbia. They're enclosed in this bubble. Nothing's gonna happen to them, not really. And then something does start to happen, and then when she finally realizes it, exactly, she is taking care of these kids. She's doing everything right, trying to, protect them, but then also protect herself. And then she ends up foiling the villain, even though it's not ultimately he gets away. But she does it before Loomis can get there and shoot him. And I think she's amazing. I do love her also in H2O. I think that's really where they kind of did the character right. I don't really like what they're doing in these new ones with the character, but hopefully Ins will change my opinion on that. I don't know, but I don't really like what they're doing. But that's besides the point. The point is she's so pervasive as a final girl. There's a reason why we keep wanting to see her all the time because she's so
Yeah.
important to the to horror in general and the franchise.
Yeah. I will say this. I actually really like the character in Halloween 2018 because I feel like that's the natural evolution of being a survivor, is that you're going to be constantly on edge. I think Jamie Lee Curtis really brings that kind of over the top, kind of crazy, trying to hold it in, trying to hold her family together, but also trying to be prepared at the same time. She rides that fine line that I really, really like. Can't really say a lot about Halloween Kills. I like the movie personally. She's not used a lot though.
They sideline her because she's supposed to be pretty big and in, so they're like, I don't know what to do with this character. They're in the hospital.
To be honest though, Halloween Kills kind of like takes a lot from Halloween 2. Where it's like, let's just put Jamie Lee Curtis in the hospital. have
Yeah.
Michael come after her. That's literally Halloween too, guys. But yeah, it's gonna be a yes for me. Obviously, Laurie Strode is on the list. All right, we are on to Chad for his pick.
And next one, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with another classic one. Make sure she gets on there. Nancy Thompson. I think Nancy Thompson may be the greatest final girl I've ever seen.
Ooh,
She has. I'm sorry. I mean, she's definitely up there for sure. I just wanted to hype her up real well because I feel like, the franchise kind of got away from her a lot. And I feel like she was kind of like one of the best things about it because, Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund became kind of a superstar. Um, so after that, she was kind of sidelined a lot. She did come back for Dream Warriors and New Nightmare, which was really great. But in the first movie, especially, I think Nancy Thompson is a great character because she's really the only one that realizes and knows what's going on, and except for the people who die because of Freddy Krueger, she realizes that she has to actually take it upon herself to learn how to stay awake and how the world works of Freddy Krueger and how to actually stop him. And she has to do all of this on her own, but also with her parents actively fighting against her to try to make her go to sleep, because that's naturally what a parent would want, is for the child to go to sleep. But then also you realize that she's in this situation because of her dumbass parents who actually caused Freddy Krueger to happen. And so I just think,
Well, to die.
what?
To die.
Anyways, I don't know what you're talking about, but but Nancy, what? Explain.
Caused him to die. Like,
Yes, they killed him. And basically, Nancy Thompson, I just think is, one of the greatest ever, and I just love Heather Langenkamp so much in that role. So yeah, Kerri.
Okay. Yeah, I say yes to this for sure. Nancy Thompson is a great classic final girl. And she's the only one really smart enough to realize what's going on, and she's experiencing it. So she actually believes it. And if anyone in the movie had just like listened to her at any point, like people maybe would have been saved. I mean, it's hard to tell because how do you defeat Freddy Krueger? In the first movie, apparently it's not possible.
Well, you just turn your back on him, but even then, they threw in the ending that's like, well, maybe
yeah.
she didn't defeat him. I don't know.
And then I love her as well in Dream Warriors.
Yes.
She's like a source of strength and comfort to these kids who are experiencing the same thing that she was. And like she's the only one who's able to actually help them.
She's actually, now that I think about it, going back to Clear Rivers is a very Nancy Thompson, because she comes back in another movie to be like, I've been through this. This is how you fight this threat that, is actually, happening to you, because none of them know it, but she knows it. So she's like, I'm coming back to tell you how you stop this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hunter's not really here. No, there he is. He's back.
sorry, had to move rooms real quick.
What are your thoughts on Nancy Thompson?
I'm sorry.
What are your thoughts on Nancy Thompson?
One of the best final girls, at least in the top two, in my opinion. I think I put Cindy slightly above her. That's just because she had more movies to grow and develop over time. But I mean, Nancy Thompson's a badass. What more can I say? I mean, she finds out a way to beat Freddy not once but twice. And last time she does end up dying, but she sacrifices herself to take Freddy with her, which is a great moment. But yeah, it's a yes for me, of course. All right, on to me. All right, I'm gonna go Tree from Happy Death Day 1 and 2.
Heyo.
I love this character, but I also love the movie itself. Actually, both movies. One thing I love is, again, that progression of character to get in one movie. She starts off being, kind of the mean girl on campus, and then she slowly realizes that, she changed her tune once she's stuck in a constant loop, but she falls for Carter over time, and they develop a great relationship with each other. Um, but I mean, she's badass. She's hilarious. I mean, just everything in a final girl you want, you can find in Tree in both these movies, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with Tree as my next nomination.
Oh yeah, that's me. I agree with that. I love Tree. I love that character. And she's not really the most traditional final girl because she is in the entire movie. She's the only, really mostly the one being killed. I think there are some bystander casualties, at some points during the movie, but she's really the only one being killed over and over again. But I think it still makes her, the fact that she has to figure out a way to survive, and she ultimately does in the end, I think still makes her a final girl. And I think she's a fantastic one. I think she's one, she has to, one of the things that, helps her survive is her growth as a person because of what's happened to her. And I think that just makes her a fantastic character.
Yeah, absolutely. Tree is fantastic. I love Jessica Roth in the movie. I love the movie itself, or movies. I think they're a
By
couple great
the
movies actually.
TV next to the
And
recording.
I also think that Tree is just a great name for a character, and I love the fact that it's a Groundhog Day type horror movie. It's just like really really fun. I remember seeing this, and I was like an early like seeing it, kind of like, oh my god, this is actually really really cool. When a lot of like not cool movies were coming out, I'm like, is this going to be weird? And it was awesome. And I think she's so good in it. She's just really smart, trying to figure out everything. I love that she kind of goes the Bill Murray route, where she realizes this shit's not going to be over anytime soon, so she kind of like messes around a little bit and just like has fun with it a little bit, like walking naked through the school
Oh yeah.
and outside and stuff like that, just like having a good time. And yeah, she's able to
Yeah.
actually figure out this mystery and stop herself from dying. But just the way that she dies a lot, and like just her reactions to like, died again, and stuff like that is just really funny. And yeah, she's
Yeah.
so great in the second one too. And I love the whole like thing about like her mom, and stuff that she does with that whole story. She's just such a really
Mhm.
well-rounded character. I'd love for them to do a third one.
It'd be hard though.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
definitely agree.
Be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a third one would be kind of weird because I don't know if you could keep going. Tree gets caught in this loop again motif.
Yeah.
All right, so Kerri, back to you.
All right. I'm really torn about who to choose here. It's
We have
probably my
three
last
more.
one. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Grace from Ready or Not. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, she is a fantastic final girl. She starts off, girl is just trying to get married to her rich ass husband. And the whole night it just turns horribly wrong for her, but she manages to survive, and she does it by, part of it's by being smart, part of it's by making an emotional connection with like Adam Brody's character, like trying to appeal to the humanity in these people who, especially this family who seems to have forgotten a lot of their humanity. Um, and I think the ending to this movie is just incredible. It's hilarious. It's gory. It's incredible. And I just love the ending shot with her. She's just like totally covered in blood and dirt and grime, just sitting outside in her wedding
Taking a
dress.
smoke.
Yeah, taking a
correct.
smoke as sirens roll up. Yeah, so yeah, she's my final, or maybe my final pick, but
She's your final girl.
she's my final girl.
Yeah, so Grace. Oh, this movie is there's like a reason why they went on to do the Scream 2022, because this movie is just insanely good. It's so epic. I just love how they, she enters this story just trying to get married to this guy that she really likes, and she ends up in like a fight to the death because of his insane family, and even then he like kind of joins their side and stuff like that after a while, and it's like really like insane. And she just like not like she just basically kind of rises to the occasion and says, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna actually like fight back, and just all the things that she goes through to survive and come out on top and foil this family's long legacy of torturing people and killing people over this like weird like demon thing they got going on. Um, and she's just so awesome, and very similar to The Descent. I just love how her wedding dress slowly, just over the whole course of the film, becomes torn and bloody and just like gross, and it's just awesome and badass, and I just love her so much. And yeah, exactly what Kerri said with the in sequence. I think is so fun, and yeah, so yes, for sure for Grace.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Um, Radio Silence was the main reason why I was super excited for Spring 2022 because of this movie. Because I knew they could bring not only the horror but the comedy, but also they wrote a fantastic final girl that I knew they could continue with Cindy Prescott, and they did. So yeah, Grace definitely deserves to make it on the list. Chad.
Yeah, so my final girl, I'm gonna nominate Maddie from Hush. Um, I don't know if I would say. Well, I guess Hush is kind of a slasher. It's more of like a more home invasion type of film, but I don't think it has to be a legit slasher for it to be a final girl. So, anyways, yeah, I nominate Maddie. I think she's amazing. This is I can't remember the actress's name. It's Mike Flanagan's wife now, right?
Katie Siegel.
Katie Seagal or whatever, Siegel. She is fantastic in like every Mike Flanagan thing she's in. I don't know if I've seen her outside of a Mike Flanagan thing, but Hush was this really small, short kind of like film that like I don't know if it was made for Netflix, but it got picked up by Netflix. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really great. I think this movie just really takes the home invasion kind of slashery concept and just kind of turns it on its head a little bit, where the protagonist of the film, the victim of this home invader, is a deaf woman. So she's in there just writing, just doing her own thing in her house, and then all of a sudden she gets terrorized by this guy. And he's trying to like not necessarily force his way in, but he's trying to get in, kill her, whatever. I don't really think he has that much of a motive, but anyway, it's not super about the movie. I just think that she, being like a deaf woman who really doesn't have any skills or training or anything like that, the way that she uses everything around her just to try to survive this guy who is like killing things, people around her and stuff like that, she's able to actually outsmart him in the end and just get away. And it's just because she wins by like the skin of her teeth. And she's just amazing. And I love the disability like representation and stuff like that. So it's a great movie, great final girl.
All right, Kerri.
Yeah, I was hoping Chad would say this one because I saw it on his list. And so I was like, I hope he says Maddie from Hush. I love her. Yeah, she just totally fights her way through this movie. She's so smart and so resourceful, and is ultimately, able to defeat the bad guy. I mean, a lot in some of these movies, like, it's about survival and like, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, I love her. That was a thought that didn't pan out. Sorry about that. But I love her, and I think she's definitely a great final girl.
All right. So, give me 1 second. So yeah, she makes the list. I mean, her name is Maddie, correct?
Yes.
Maddie.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen Hush like 2 or 3 times. It's been a while, so it's kind of hard to remember names. But yeah, dude, I mean, this movie it takes the home invasion um, concept and does what The Stranger does with it. Makes it realistic, and the fact, on top of that, that she's deaf, and the psychological games that they play together. But I also love how smart she is in the ending, using that alarm that she had, the smoke alarm in her house,
Yeah.
to cause a distraction, which then she's able to fight back. So she uses her surroundings that she's used to against somebody who's not used to it.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one more spot left, and I know where I'm going with mine. Chad, you're going to be very happy with my pick. I'm going to go Mia Allen from 2013's Evil Dead. I say this because, again, the story progression in one movie. She goes from having a drug problem, she goes from being at her lowest point to having all her friends die by her hands, even though she's possessed, to fighting back against the possessed with a great final line of feast on this motherfucker, and then killing the Deadite, blood raining, or blood of blood rain. There we go, falling from the sky. Just so badass from being someone who has a huge problem with drugs in the beginning, to being able to not only overcome her drug addiction, but come back stronger from it at the end of the movie. That's why I'm going with Mia. She is one of the most badass final girls I've seen in a very long time when it comes to modern horror. Guys?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said Mia, because she is the one when I was trying to decide my last pick. I was trying to decide between Grace and Mia. So I am so glad you said her. I think she's a fantastic final girl. I think she's so incredible in this movie. Like, I don't know, it's so fun to see kind of the beats of this classic film, but hit so differently. And she just hits them differently than Bruce Campbell, and it's definitely a more serious take on Evil Dead. But I think she pulls it off perfectly. Like, and I think the decision to have this background story in the movie and have Mia as the final girl specifically is part of what makes this like a great remake. It's not retreading the same old ground. It's not like a shot for shot. It's not even really the same plot. It's like the same concept, but you're really switching things up. And I think Mia really helped to make this such a great movie.
Yeah, I think she is definitely a great final girl. I think for the movie itself, I liked it a lot more. I think the first time I saw it, and then subsequent watches, I've liked it a little bit less actually. But I think if you remove two specific things, the movie's a lot better for me. But it's a lot of like a personal thing. I think one is actually would just make it a better movie. If you remove the witch stuff, I think the beginning of the movie is very cheesy, but not in a campy like Sam Raimi way. I think it's just kind of like that really doesn't need to be there personally. But then also the dog murder, I think is just way too brutal for no reason. I hate that part so much. Other than that, I think doing this movie like practically, with the care and stuff that they took into actually making this movie practical and good, I think was like really good. And I love everything that Hunter and Kerri both said about this character, because it's very true. Like, they added a really cool kind of like backstory for her. She has something she has to get over, and it's not just the current threat that's there. But and she actually gets like possessed in the movie too, so she's got to get over that, and then she's got to end up defeating them. So she is kind of like an Ash in the movie, not as great as Ash in my opinion, but still a really great one from back in 2013, and I wouldn't put her over Grace myself, but I think she is definitely deserving to be on a top 12 final girl. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, she is
All
badass
right.
at the end with that chainsaw and stuff too.
Feast on this, motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right, so we have our top 12. All right, so we have Ellen Ripley, Claire Rivers, Cindy Prescott, Danny from Midsummer, Sarah Carter from Descent, Casey Cook from Split and Glass, Laurie Strode, Nancy Thompson, Tree Gilman, Maddie from Hush, Grace from Ready or Not, and Mia Allen from Evil Dead 2013. Love the diversity of characters, guys.
Yeah, I agree. I love that it was the ones that we thought would probably be on there and a lot more too. Did we want to try to rank these, or did we just want to leave it as a good list?
Yeah, I mean, we can try to move it around. So,
all right,
here's how we should do it. I'll be like 12. I'll put up
Yep.
a nomination, and then we agree on where it should go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
we're gonna start with the number 12, and we each say who we think goes on 12, right?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
and if we agree on one of them, he goes in 12, and then
Perfect.
so forth, so forth. All right. So, Kerri, you want to start with who you think should be your number 12?
So I think probably Clear Rivers should be at 12. I think she's kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's really hard because I think these are all really fantastic characters.
All right.
And so I think even from the start, it's pretty hard. But I know she was the one. I think she was the only one her and Danny were the only two we weren't really unanimous on. So I think
True.
it's got to be like her, Danny.
Oh, it's me
Jack,
now. Yeah, actually, you know what? I was gonna go with someone else, but I am gonna go with Danny, because I like Claire more.
All right, so it's on to me. Yeah, considering I'm the one who said no to Clear being on the list, I'm going to put her at 12 as well. Nothing against the character itself. I just feel like if she had more to do in the frequent movies, then it would have been higher up, considering that there were like 5 Final Destination films. All right, so Clear Rivers goes in the number 12 position.
We
Jack.
forgot Mia and
It doesn't
we
matter.
just have to remember.
Jack, on to you. I think
I'm starting.
I know where you're going
I'm
with number 12
gonna
list.
go with Danny.
Kerri?
I'll agree with Danny. I think she's a good number 11.
Okay, yeah. I'm fine with that. All right, number 10 for me. I'm okay putting Casey at number 10. I feel like she's really good in Split, but doesn't do a lot in Class. So yeah, I'm okay with putting Casey Cook at number 10. Guys?
So you or me?
Me, I think. Yeah, I think I'm actually good with that.
Same.
Yeah.
All right, number 10 is Casey Cook. All right, Kerri, back to you.
Okay. I am going to go with, I think with Sarah Carter. I don't know. It's hard. There's a few I think I could put on here, so I don't feel super strongly about it. But I think right now Sarah Carter is kind of like drifting towards the bottom for me.
I'm gonna go with Mia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sarah as well. I feel like Mia does a bit more in her one movie than Sarah does in her movie when it comes to
Disagree.
overall final girl package, I would say. All right, so number 9 is Sarah Carter. Dad, back to you.
Back to me, Mia.
Kerri?
Yeah, I'll agree with Mia.
Sweet.
Number 8. Okay. Number 8 is Mia Allen.
Now here's where it gets hard.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. I'm gonna vote Maddie. She's a really good character, but out of the ones we have left, I feel like 7 is a pretty good position for her.
Yeah, I think if I was going to choose one for this, it would be for 7. It would be Maddie as well.
I'll agree with that.
Okay, so number 7 is Maddie from Hush. Kerri, back to you.
Oh, okay.
These are getting harder and harder every time we eliminate one.
Yeah, now it's getting really difficult. I think there are 2 that could go in this spot.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with Tree. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Tree, although I wouldn't say no to Grace either.
I would put Grace slightly above Tree, personally.
Okay, so majority rules, so Tree goes to number 6. I probably would put her at 5, but that's just
We could just put Grace in 5 then, since I think that's where we were. Unless you disagree, Hunter.
I mean, I would be fine with putting Grace at 6 and then putting Tree at 5.
No, I don't agree with that.
All right, so
I just like Summer Awakening so much. She's so good in that
Yeah.
movie.
all right, so number 5, Chad, I believe it's on you.
Oh, 5, I'm good with Grace.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And
I'm
then,
fine with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
you just can't beat the classic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, all of these are franchise greats now.
This is
Hmm.
definitely the top 4.
Yes.
Yeah. Funny enough,
Hunter, it's
these
Hunter's
top 4 are in the thumbnail of this video.
turn.
All right, it's on to me. I gotta go. Number 4. As much as it pains me to do this, I'm going to put Lori at number 4. I feel like when you look at the overall movies, I think Ellen does a lot more in her movies, and it's a constant. Same with Sydney, same with Nancy. I think Lori's the one that kind of gets messed up with all the time loops and all the timeline changes and all 12 Halloween movies she's dead in the other one and then comes back in another one, and it's kind of a weird like overall wrenching of the series, I would say.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, because I'm between 2 for this spot. But yeah, I think you've convinced me, Hunter, that Laurie would be number 4.
I don't think Lori's number 4 at all. I think you both are wrong. But
Who would you have put?
probably I'm between Ellen or Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but Lori, you majority rules, so Lori's 4.
Yep. Number 4. So we're on to Kerri for number 3.
My number 3 was gonna be Nancy Thompson. I'll stick with it. I know Chad's probably not gonna agree with that, but
3 is a good spot. Honestly, these are the top 3. These are all deserving for number 1, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with Nancy being 3.
Okay, so Nancy Thompson being a 3, that's fine with me
Being
as well.
brand with the scream as well, I think.
All right, so number 2. Chad, on to you.
Ellen Ripley.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Kerri?
I mean, I actually might have put Ellen Ripley I don't know. That's actually difficult. Actually, if you're thinking of the sequels, if you're concluding the sequels, I think Ellen Ripley number 2. Yeah.
I think these top 4 are all number
it's
ones.
So any given day, I think
1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
Yeah. And number 1, in my opinion, is Sydney Prescott.
Neff Campbell.
I'm putting up.
Yeah, that was a great ranking. Great list. Great
Nice.
ranking, guys. We
Wow.
did a great job.
All right, so I'm going to go through it one more time. Number 12, we have Claire Rivers. Number 11, we have Denny from Midsummer. 10, we have Casey Cook. 9, we have Sarah Carter. 9, we have Mia Allen. Or 8, we have Mia Allen. 7, we have Maddie. 6, we have Tree. 5, we have Grace. 4, Lori Strode. 3, Nancy Thompson. 2, Ellen Ripley. And 1, Sydney Prescott.
That's a great
What a
list.
rank.
Great rank them. I wanted to actually throw out a shout out to our buddy Malcolm Lay, who we got his this idea from with Rankum.
Mhm.
Kind of did a little bit of a Rankum here, but he does the only great Rankum, and I'm glad for the idea because this was very fun. And I think we kind of did the same thing with Buffy, and I want to keep kind of semi using this format if you guys like it because it's really fun to rank things this way. I love the surprise element of hearing what someone's gonna rank, and they throw it out, and you're like, "Oh, that's such a good idea!
Yeah,
Good choice."
Yeah.
So
definitely. All right, guys. So, what a great list for tonight. Next week, I don't know what we're going to do. It's kind of open in the air right now. But what I do know is after I finish season 2 of Buffy, we will come back and do a ranking episode of Buffy season 2, which I'm
Yeah.
halfway through, so I cannot wait to finish up. It's
so excited!
it's so good. It's
I had so
good,
much
guys.
fun doing the first season, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for the second season.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Buffy is slowly becoming one of my favorite TV shows.
Oh,
So
that hits us right in the heart. You can't just converting like a new Buffy fan
Yeah.
is just one of the best things you can do.
all right, guys. So I believe we are almost an hour and 16 minutes into this episode. So it's time to bid you guys adieu. If you guys did enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe to the Nerd Entertainment Network down below. If you guys want to